Welcome back. Now, social media is the fastest means of communication in the 21st century. There are a lot of positive and negative attributed to the use of social media. But the immediacy provided by social media is available to predators as well as friends. But how can one effectively use the social media and also remain from the predators? We are now being joined by Dr. Lionel Rawlins. He's the Assistant Vice President, Security and Safety of the American University of Nigeria. You're welcome on the program, Doc.
Good morning, sir. Or should I say good morning, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Lionel. Good morning to you, too.
Bawani.
And you're looking more Japanese this morning.
Chinese, actually.
Chinese,
yes,
actually.
sir. Old English, old Chinese writing.
Oh, interesting.
I'm trying to impress you.
You're cross-cultural, you know?
I am. Very cultural.
Very cultural, right? All right, that's good. Good to see you. And that makes you cut across every ethnic and every creed. I'm not just going to say you're just a Nigerian, but let's say you are a human being participating in the human race.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm a Nigerian.
You're a Nigerian for
Yes.
now, right?
Interesting.
All right, let's start now. Going by the prelude of this discussion you had earlier about the social media. And let's try to wait before we indulge deeply into the conversation. You know, it says it has the positives and the negatives, right? Now, looking at the scale, which one do you think it's more prevalent over the other? You know, is it the positives or the negatives in the usage of social media?
No, it's a balance, a straight balance, because the negatives are just as bad as how good the positives are. It's like medicine.
All right.
You take medicine for, let's say, blood pressure. And it controls the blood pressure, but it also destroys other things in the body, and so forth and so forth. So it's the same thing. I like the positive and negative thing that you said, because even though it is positive, the negatives are just as bad. However, if we learn how to take care of the negatives, then the positive will go up exponentially higher, a lot higher than it is right now. So right now, it's balanced 50-50. And I think it's because people don't know how dangerous the negatives are.
Now, Lionel, before we dig deeper into this topic of discussion, I see we say the effect of social media on personal security. Now, give and take, I would want to assume that there isn't any threat attached to someone based on the use of social media. But when you follow some of the reports that you get, you definitely would come to a logical conclusion that there is a link between the use of social media and personal security. Now, let's go down a little bit. What are we talking about? What is the link between these two words put together, social media as well as personal security?
Well, there are many risks and there are many dangers attached to it, or the threats are many.
Okay.
But let's give you the top 5. The top 5 would be, one, they can steal your identity, and if your identity is stolen, you can be 10 people in 10 different parts of the world. In other words, your name is appearing all over Nigeria and different parts of West Africa and maybe in the Western world. They can hack into your computer. If they hack into your computer, they can take everything you have, everything you've ever written, every photograph you've ever taken. They can, in the Western world there's a word called stalking. I don't know if you use it here. It's about people who follow you.
Yep.
So if you are trying to get away from someone who's trying to hurt you, they can find you on social media quite easily. The next one is, when you go on social media and you tell the world where you are and where you're going, everyone knows that your house is empty if you're telling everyone that you are on vacation in London. So people know when to break into your house and burglarize it. And the last one is, we get overconfident because we think we have firewall, or we think we have other forms of protection to protect the computer from being broken into or from viruses. We become overconfident, then we become careless. So those are the 5 basic reasons why the threat is so serious. And
Okay.
we can go on and enumerate a lot more, but those are the 5 basic ones that all of the experts say is a problem.
Now let's take still in one's identity for instance. Now, how can one feel threatened when his identity is stolen? How do one even steal someone's identity? Is it easy for that to happen?
Of course, it's easy. There are scammers. There are people out there whose main job is to steal other people's identity and sell it. So someone who steals your identity, he has your picture, your name, your date of birth, your national ID number, everything else, even down to your blood type. And he can sell that to 20 people in Nigeria, but he can also sell it to 100 people all over the world. So there'll be 100, there could be 500 people looking like you with your same name all over the world. And remember, no one is stealing your identity to do good. They're stealing your identity to do bad things. So whenever they get caught, it's your name, it's your picture, and your profile that's all over the world. Before you know it, Interpol is looking for you because you did something bad in Spain, but you've never left Nigeria. So you see how dangerous that could be.
Well,
and that is just the minimum, basic identity
basic
theft.
identity. I just hope quite a number of young ones out there are really listening to you this morning. However, of course, people have been eluded so much by the social media to an extent that every bit of step they take, they post it. Somebody is traveling, he's at the airport right away. He will say, all right, I'm at Yola International Airport heading to Lagos in the next 3 hours. You know, just wherever they are, they post that. How dangerous is that to personal security?
Oh, very dangerous. That's even more dangerous than the first one.
Yeah.
Because what you're telling the world, if you tweet or you send an email or you text, but let's say tweet because the Twitter goes to everyone worldwide, or Facebook, and you said, I am going to Port Harcourt for vacation. I'm leaving today, I'll be back in 2 weeks. If people know that you live alone, what are you telling the world? What are you telling everyone, your neighbors, your friends? You're saying, my house is unprotected, it's empty, there's no one there, please go and break into it. It's almost like coming on TV and telling everyone, hey, I'm traveling, you know, my house is vacant, go and live there, stay there, steal what you want, take what you want. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Just get it out before I return. It's dangerous, and it's even worse than the identity theft because you're telling everyone the house is open, go and steal what you want.
Now, how did we come to that point where all of our informations are found on the net? And most especially when you see people who make use of social media platform, they tend to put all of their informations without even understanding the basics of security, being security conscious. Now, let's talk about it more critical from this point of view. How can one use a social media and be safe?
Well, you can use it safely. There are a lot of settings that you can use. You can use high settings, for example, in your Facebook. You can have your settings set so high that it is difficult for someone to hack in or break in. You can also set it in such a way that only certain people will view your photographs, see your information that you have, and so forth. But it never really happens. It's idealistic to say yes. Because if I am a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who know you on Facebook, I can get the information from you through a friend of a friend of a friend. And people post their pictures of their children with their names, their date of birth. You post pictures of your wives, your family. People only even put pictures of their house and the address where they live, what school they go to, where they work, what they like to eat, what they like to wear. And we take pictures and we post it. You know, you want the whole world to see you in a new suit or new tie or new pair of shoes. So you take these photographs, you post it on your internet, and you send it out to millions of people all over the world. Now, everybody will know your address just from that. And if you take pictures of your family, and then your names of your family, the whole world will see it.
So all these little things that we do and take for granted are something that could compromise our own security at the same time.
Definitely so. And one of the things young people, the Generation Y and the X and the XYs, they take pictures of them in compromising position, perhaps drunk, or perhaps half naked or something, and they post it because it's cool and it looks cool. But 5 years later, when they become an adult, or they graduate from college and they try to find a job, what employers do now is go on social media to look for you, to see what have you been doing all these years. And they will see these photographs of you in compromising position, half naked, drunk, with Indian hemp in your mouth. And now you're looking for a job from them, they're going to say, no, 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 we don't want this person.
You're not responsible, therefore. They just see that image and they have that perception that you're not responsible.
It might have been taken 10 years ago, but they will still hold it against you.
All right, in light of that, what do you make of Photoshop, whereby it's been done and allowed to go viral? How threat is it to one's personal security?
Well, somebody can take your picture and put it in another picture showing you kissing another man.
That's right.
And then they send it virally. Everybody in the world see it, and they think you. This is another aspect of it, because this is where the lies and the bullying and the hurting of other people comes in, because they took your picture, and they can put it as you're kissing me,
yes.
and it can look real, and no one knows that. And before you know it, the whole world see both of us kissing. And then your wife will ask for an explanation.
Definitely, there's going to be hell at home. Now, Lionel, we'll take a break now, but I would like you to ponder on these two key issues. It's not too common here in Africa, but we've heard about bullying, where kids are being bullied via the social media, via the internet, in places like UK and some other countries like that. We'll look at the effect of that with regard to the use of social media, as well as we'll look at the social media used by terrorists to instill fear. We'll look at also the effect of that and how we can break loose of these chains, because I call them a chain. We'll talk about that after now.
Good ones. Good ones.
All right, if you just tuned in, you're watching Safiya Breakfast show. We'll take a break right now and return with this discussion with Lionel Rawlins of the AUN with us. Stay with us.
In Africa this week, we go beyond the headlines.
Although many of these youngsters have to do with gas,
We bring you developing stories with analysis, commentaries, providing a wider perspective on African stories. We bring different views together, different angles of events with shape news around Africa. In short, we give an African perspective on global events.
That's Africa This Week with Sharif Al Hassan on Sundays 8:30 p.m. with a repeat on Monday at 10:30 a.m.
All right, welcome back. Now, if you have just joined us, you're watching Safiya Breakfast Show. Of course, the #1 breakfast show in the northeastern part of the country. And on this segment, we have been discussing the effect of social media on personal security. And our guest has been Lionel Rawlins, the Assistant Vice President, Security and Safety of the American University of Nigeria. Now, before the break, Aaron threw a question at you, which is very, very important and also sensitive now. Talking about using the social media as a form of bully, you know, even though it's not too prevalent or common in this part of the world, but in the UK and the US, a lot of young words have really committed suicide because somebody has threatened them via social media, you know, and in fact stampede on their ability to even open up to their parents. So how bad and dangerous is this, you know, and how do we respond or confront this kind of threat that comes via social media?
Well, it is bad, and as you said, it's prevalent in the US and the UK. It's not here yet, but it will get here, and I will say it will be here in about another year or two. The only reason it's not here as yet is because not everyone has access to computers or reliable internet at all times.
That's right.
And so the people here, whenever they have internet or they have data, they use it effectively, not to play around with, because it costs money and it costs time. But there's going to come a point in time, and here, the internet is going to be wide open and free, and everywhere you go, there's a hot spot, and that is when people will be able to sit down and idly, very idly, send out bullying messages to everyone, or they'll bully you, and they can do it, and you will not know who did it, because I can assume a name, I can call you everything, I can say everything about you, I can expose things I know about you, but I can give myself a name of, I can say this is Mary, and you think there's a Mary, but it's actually me. And this is going to get here. It's in the US and in the Western world, many young folks have committed suicide because they can't, even adults, if they know that you expose some sensitive information about them, rather than them being, you know, dealing with it as an adult, they're going to kill themselves. Something as simple as calling somebody fat, a young girl, you call her fat. She can kill herself for that in the US. Here, I think the Nigerian people are different, and they will not, I don't think no Nigerian will kill themselves if you refer to them as fat.
But depends on the psychology that is tied to the social media.
But we used to think of that too with suicide bombings. We used to say in the West that no black man is that stupid, that he will blow himself up and kill himself and kill people. That was the way we thought. I used to think so too. No black man, because black people don't kill themselves. Yeah. Well, we see differently now. Black people are now going into shopping markets and shopping centers and churches and mosques and killing themselves and killing other people. So we have to change that theory, that thought, and say, if you start bullying Nigerians, they too are going to start killing themselves.
Now, Lionel, I guess we've agreed that it is not too common here in this part of the world.
Yes.
Talking about Africa, let's look at Nigeria. Bullying is not part of the culture yet. But we've seen a different face of the use of internet that has been detrimental to people, especially ladies, dating on the net. You don't know this person. The person just gives you up his profile and asks you for a date and asks you to come down to wherever he's located at, and you move. We've heard cases where ladies were killed in hotel rooms. Just meet on the person via the internet. Now, what is the psychology that is so, I don't know how to put it, that holds you so tight that you can't let go of what you see on the social media? You just believe everything. Is there a psychological spirit there?
Yes, loneliness. Loneliness and a lack of self-confidence, self-loathing. For example, if a woman feels she's 30 years old, she's not married, she doesn't have a man, doesn't have a child, she thinks life is passing her by. The society says you are a loser because at your age, you don't have it. You're supposed to be married, have a husband, have children. You now become so desperate that the first man who says something nice to you on the internet, you'll go to meet him in a hotel room, or you might travel to Lagos to meet with him, and you will never come back, or may never come back. And it has happened all over the world, and it does not happen. You cannot say the woman is stupid. Like some people be quick to say, you're stupid. Who goes to meet a man you don't even know? It goes beyond stupidity. It's the psychology of the woman's mind. No self-confidence, life is passing her by, she's lonely, she needs to impress her family, she wants to impress society, and she wants a child, she wants a family. She'll do anything to get it. And there she goes.
We'll come to a solution, Chris. You know, we need to talk about the issue of using the social media as a platform for threat, you know, by terrorists, Chris.
Yes, of course. A couple of days ago, I was watching a program, you know, via Dr. Whale, and there's a shift, you know, where the terrorists use a TV game somehow to communicate, you know, and you know, it's really ignited a kind of a conscience in me to find out how that can be. And I quickly remembered that some times ago, you know, in the country here, we heard a situation where they said about 126 soldiers got missing, you know, via the internet, you know, that's what we heard. And truly from the defense headquarters, none of the soldiers, you know, was missing. So nobody knew where the information was coming from. But a lot of people believed that, and as such now injected fear in the minds of the people. So what should the response of the ordinary Nigerians be like when they come across such kind of post, you know, via the social media?
Well, just don't believe everything you read on the internet. You have to use critical thinking.
That's correct.
You know, use critical analysis. Just don't believe everything. You know, in criminology, what we are taught is believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. Remember that?
Yeah.
Believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. If you keep that in mind, and you'll always be objective.
That's correct.
And people tend to believe everything they hear, everything they read on the internet, and that's not necessarily so. But you're right about when you said about earlier about the terrorist groups using the social media. I mean, look at what happened. Look at what's happening with ISIS.
That's correct.
They are able to get young girls and boys to leave the country from far, far away, who doesn't even speak Arabic, who is not even Muslim, to travel to Syria and Turkey just to join ISIS. How could that be? Because, you know, you figured, can you leave Nigeria to go there? Why? But they do it. And the fact is, they've been doing it for years, and they're doing it so well. Come back to what you said about the soldiers missing. One of the effectiveness of ISIS and Boko Haram is they were using social media effectively, and the military was not using it. Even though they're capable of using it, like they will not come back and say on social media, no, we weren't missing, we didn't have anyone missing, it's a lie. They did not do that. And so people are thinking, well, if the military is not responding, it must be so. And this is one of the dangers of the military not stepping up the game, coming into the 21st century, using technology just like the enemy is doing. The military has the capability of doing it, but nobody from the military wants to come on TV and say, this is not so. That
is the problem now. That is the challenge now, because if we have had spokespersons of the military, not necessarily the one, the centralized spokesperson, talking about the one at the defense headquarters, if we had a segmented regional or garrison spokesperson, you know, that comes to the television, to any media and talk, you know, it could cushion the tension of the people around when they hear that, okay, the military have been disappeared, they have run away from their fortified areas. Now, for God's sake, if an ordinary person hears that the military runs away, what comes to your mind? Is it also to find your way out? So we need people from the military to come also debunk some of these statements we read daily on the social media.
Not just the military, the police as well, and your security forces.
That's right.
Must come. No, I am saying they have the capabilities
Yes.
of doing it, but what's preventing them is it's the bureaucracy. You know that they work for some people in Abuja, and they cannot come out and speak on their own and say things. Otherwise, now everybody is worrying about their career. I mean, I'm a military man too, and we used to worry about, I want to get promoted.
That's correct.
And I'm not going to say anything or do anything to stop me from getting promoted. And that is why you see no one wants to come forward and say anything unless they were told to do so. And then when they do so, they have a script.
There is stereotype.
Well, there's a script. They call them
yeah.
talking points that the military or the headquarters or the police command gives you to speak about. And you cannot deviate from that script. You cannot move off that script or say anything different from what they write. Otherwise, you'll be waddling in dangerous waters, and you may get in trouble if you did that.
Now, Lionel, there's two things I would like you to react to, which is going to be our final points on the show this morning. The first one is going to look at the way Nigerians use social media, especially when you meet them in an engagement on Facebook. Raise a religious issue, raise an ethnic issue. The way Nigerians talk about it's something else. Personal emotion comes into play. Now, we know that there's increase in the usage of social media. A lot of people are getting into this spirit. Now, how can one refrain himself or herself from falling a victim of individuals who use this platform to propagate some certain belief that we cannot really identify?
Well, it's it's complicated here in Nigeria because you have so many different ethnic groups, and you have two basic religions, and you're equally divided, and either you are very strongly supporting your group, and the other person is so if you get up there and you start saying something about another group or another ethnic group, the other person will fly back and say the same thing about you. It is not the internet and it's not the social media that's causing this. This is just a medium that the bad people are using to propagate their stupid ways or their bad feelings or their ignorance. So it has to start somewhere, and it cannot start. The social media is not going to stop it. It's going to keep going. And what you need to do, it needs to be start at the local level, in the churches and the mosques, the schools, the local folks, the civics classes. You can't just, and you're not going to just get up and stop this. This is too complex.
It's too complex.
And too complicated.
But where you have a vast majority of people who do not understand the intricacies behind the use of social media, it is a problem in a society like Nigeria that is a developing society. Now, let's just get your final take. We've talked about bullying for kids, and it's not here, it's not part of the culture of Nigerians or Africans in general, but it's something that we're looking could come to become a thing that would threaten the society. Now, Lionel, for parents who are watching us this morning, what words do you have for them? And for the kids, how should they prep themselves in anticipation that things like this could happen?
Well, that one is a lot simpler than the first question. You know, when you ask that question, that was the problem of ethnicity and religion was there long before social media came.
That's right.
Social media just came. And you all had this problem like maybe 50 years ago, and it's gotten worse ever since. That's why I said it's more complicated than to just come up with an answer. There's a lot of things that needs to be done to fix this. And social media is not going to fix it. It has to start in the schools, in the homes, with your leadership, in the churches and the mosques, and so forth and so forth. With the children and the parents, that is a lot easier. The parents need to monitor what the children is watching. They need to pay attention to what what social media they're using. If the child is living in the house, the parents must know what TV are you watching, what shows are you watching, what networks are you doing, what pictures are you posting on the internet, who are your friends. But the problem is the parents are not as smart as the children.
How many parents know what social media is all about?
Exactly, that's the problem. The children are smarter than the parents. So if a mother or father asks a child, son, daughter, what are you watching? They'll pull up a picture of the Noah's Ark and say, I'm reading about Noah's Ark. And then when the parents turn off, they go back to what they were watching or doing. And the parents are too busy to pay attention to what the children are watching. So it can be done, but the parents must in fact watch the children, monitor what they're looking at, ask them questions, and get involved in their personal lives. So once you do that, you will start seeing that, because this is what they do now in the Western world. You can't get in unless the mother or father has the password to read the things that you're writing and posting. Okay. And if you want them to pay for it, you have to give them your password.
Exactly.
But wait a minute though. Okay. The child have multiple passwords. Okay. So they'll give the mother the password to whatever they want them to look at.
That's correct.
And they're not going to give you the password to what they don't want you to see. And the mother and father don't understand this, and so they think that the child is watching and reading about Peter and Paul, Mary.
So it's more complex a situation than what we can handle for one sitting on this show. We'll also look at this some other time, maybe next week, Monday. We can look at other aspects of this. Would that be okay? We can increase awareness.
I'm here for you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Lionel.
Anytime you want me.
Thank you very much.
You're Chambry.
All right, you've heard Lionel Rawlins. He said, believe nothing you hear, only half what you see. That's our takeoff point today on the show with him this morning. And that was Dr. Lionel Rawlins. He is Assistant Vice President, Security and Safety of the American University of Nigeria. He spoke on the effects of social media and personal security. Now, you know what to post and what not to post. Coming up after the break is a discussion on saboteurs in PMB's government. Do join us after that.